First things first, this isn't a fun conversation or a positive conversation. This isn't something that we thought we would ever talk about, or at least I never thought we would have to talk about this with Mickey Joseph or with anybody who's a part of the football staff, to be honest. So it's really unfortunate that there's even a conversation around it, or that it even came down to what we've seen in the last couple hours. Um, Another thing I want to say is this is a guy who's part of the Husker family. This is a family who's part of Husker Nation, right? So this isn't a reality show and something that we're just attacking. And when I say we, I mean myself and all of you too in the chat and everything else. I won't address anything that's a negative comment. None of us know anything that's happened. This is all secondhand information, and I'm just giving you guys kind of a breakdown of what's going on because I get so many messages about my thoughts. And since I do talk about Nebraska football all the time, and this is part of Nebraska football and what it is, we'll talk about it briefly. But like I said, I'm not going to address anything negative, and I'm not going to speak anything negative on it because I don't know anything. Neither do you. And it's just not our business outside of being aware of what happened. But diving into things and speculating or anything else that's not what I'm here to do. I got a message a few hours ago. I got multiple messages a few hours ago from people who are trusted reporters at Nebraska and around Nebraska, and they said that Mickey ended up with this domestic violence charge, or there was a call to his house, and that he fled the scene. And I didn't know what to make of that. I was like, that's really interesting. This is like a couple hours ago. Like, that's weird. Obviously, I didn't say anything about it. I was just like, maybe this is fake. Maybe, who knows? Then people started speculating on Twitter because his wife took her Twitter account down. And now 2 hours later, some things have popped up online. Yeah, it's really unfortunate. The first thing is this, and I'm not getting to chat yet, guys. I just want to get through and tell you guys the facts so you can see what's actually going on. This guy, Rusty Bill, he's a sports reporter, it looks like. He posted up that Mickey Joseph is in custody. So it's all his info right there, proving it's him. And then Sean Callahan retweeted this from a news site, and it says that at 1:54, officers were dispatched to a residence near wherever that is. Domestic disturbance. Concluding the investigation, Mickey was arrested at a separate location for strangulation. So something happened with him and his wife, unfortunately. Don't know what happened. Don't really care. It's not my business. It's not your business. Between him and his wife. What I do know about the Mickey situation, though, is from background, nothing to do with what happened today. Mickey is in talks with Nebraska, from my understanding, of being the next wide receivers coach for Matt Rule. And there was going to be an offer presented if there wasn't already. My understanding is Mickey's priority wasn't Nebraska. We had talked about this on the live. I didn't think that Mickey really wanted to be the wide receivers coach. He wanted to be a head coach somewhere. And I totally respect that. Got to go and do what's best for you. Do what's best for your family. So that's where it started. And then in the last couple of days, I guess, who knows? There's a lot of pressure, and he hasn't made a decision. So there's been a lot of questions as to, is there going to be a decision made or is there not going to be? And it felt like Mickey kind of had a time frame until, I would say, this weekend. And after this weekend, that time was going to be up. So my guess was we were going to know by this weekend. Now, obviously, I think this is a confirmation that won't be happening. It's my guess. I don't know. Maybe this is all spun and who knows what's actually happened. I'm not going to say anything about it because I don't know shit. But what I do know is my guess would be the Mickey Joseph conversation's over. Nebraska's going to part ways with Mickey. And unless there's some crazy something we don't know, which I find very hard to believe, then maybe we'll talk about him again. But I don't think so. I think Nebraska parts ways, and we'll be looking for our next wide receivers coach. So that's something we can all look forward to. I'm not sure who that receivers coach is going to be. I'm not sure when they're going to have to make a hire by, if that's going to be this weekend or if that's going to be by Monday. But yeah, we're definitely looking towards a new receivers coach, in my opinion. So plenty of options out there. Some people have mentioned Keith Williams. I don't think Keith Williams is going to be the guy. But yeah, it's really, really sad. People are saying they got zero sympathy and all that, and I totally understand it. People have their issues with domestic violence and everything, and I totally respect it and understand it. The only reason I'm not going to say anything about that or give an opinion on it is because I know nothing. We don't have any confirmation of anything. We just know that there was a report and he got arrested. I don't know anything beyond that. So I'm not going to say anything about Mickey or his wife. I hope, like I said, I hope for both of them and for their family and their kids that everything works out, that they're all safe, and I'm sure it'll all sort itself out. I'm sure everything will be okay. Like I said, it's not my business to speculate. I don't know, so I'm not going to judge him right now and freak out about it. Obviously, you guys know I have common sense, so if something did happen, you would know my take on that. It is really sad, though. People are saying people were rooting for him. It's a sad situation. I mean, yeah, it's kind of bizarre, right? And yeah, it looks like he fled the scene. It doesn't make much sense. And people are saying if it is true, he shouldn't be hired. I can definitely confirm that I agree that with that point. If any of this is true, yeah, it's a no-brainer. You could never forgive that right now and make a guy a head coach of football players, young guys. But what's sad on top of all of this, take away Mickey and his family. Mickey's part of a bigger family. He's part of a Nebraska family, right? He's part of a Nebraska football team with a lot of players who look up to him, who respect him, and who love him. And a lot of these guys were waiting to make their decisions. I mean, the transfer portal, as you guys have seen, has been filling up like crazy over the last 4 or 5 days. If you follow Transfer Portal on Instagram or even on Twitter, you can see all of the guys who are entering. And surprisingly, we've pretty much seen no Nebraska guys enter. O'Shawn Mathis came out, and O'Shawn said, I'm waiting on to see what Mickey does. And depending on what Mickey does, I might enter the draft. I might come back. He hasn't made a hard decision yet. But there's a lot of kids now who know him personally. None of us know him personally, right? We know him as someone that we loved and admired and appreciated. We appreciated his time and what he's done for the university, right? So it affects us in a certain way. But there's a lot of guys on that team who are young, between 18 and 24, 25, and yeah, you feel for them because they have a lot of respect for that guy. That's someone they all look up to, and they've all mentioned as like a father figure. So all Nebraska players who are feeling this type of way or feeling some type of way about this and don't know how to wrap their head around it right now because this is all just coming out in the last couple hours. I really feel for them, and I hope they get the support they need from obviously this new staff. It's a really tough time. There's a transition at Nebraska right now, and those offices they aren't empty, but it feels a little bit empty. They're going through a major transition, and it won't be filled out and feel like home for at least another week or so here. So yeah, I feel for the players the most, and I feel for his wife and kids, obviously. Cornhusker Corner, thank you for the $5. Total gut punch. We all looked up to this guy, captured our hearts. I hope his family heals, and they can all move on from this. Very sad news. And then Don't Get Me Started says he's out now. This might even ruin his ability to go somewhere else at the moment. Yeah, I think yeah, it's not looking good for a guy to be able to come and be a college football head coach after a situation like this. So my guess is yeah, my guess is we won't see Mickey coach in Nebraska or anywhere else anytime soon. And obviously we're all disappointed, we're all shocked. Splash into Pot says this sums up Nebraska football. I don't agree with that at all. I think Nebraska football stands for a lot of good things. I think Nebraska football is a lot of good things, and I think this is a situation that none of us saw coming and none of us have seen before. I don't know why this would sum up Nebraska football. That's ridiculous. We have a lot of positives at our university and in our football program. So Malachi's mom tweeted, "What you think you know versus what you actually know. What people will believe on here. Stop spreading rumors and speak joy and light unto others." That's a good message because none of us know, right? Like I said, I'm not here to speculate on things and to be negative. It's just I want to make sure you guys understand what's going on. And since I get so many messages about this because I do cover Nebraska football, we had to go live to talk about it. And you guys know, you're my friends, so this is a time for us to talk openly. But I'm surprised, man. My instant reaction is shocked. I know I haven't given you an instant reaction. I'm shocked by this. Mickey Joseph is a high character guy from what I understand. Mickey Joseph is a family guy. Mickey Joseph seemed to have a really good relationship with his wife. So all of this coming out is just like, it hits you in the face so hard. I called someone I know that I'm friends with, and I talked to him about it, who's obviously close to the program. And yeah, he was pretty shocked too. He didn't know anything about it. So it was more so we just talked about it and we're like, could this be true? Would this be something Mickey would do? It's just, wow. So it's more so just the instant impact right now. And yeah, it's tough. I guess what you can say is, fortunately, it's not football season. So it's not impacting all the players as much, which is good because I really, the people you worry about in this situation, not the fans. Who cares about the fans? None of us know him personally, like I said. So it's disappointing for us, but it's not what it is for his family and his players, right? So you really feel for the players, and yeah, I don't know what it means for recruiting. I You have to assume it's not a good look for recruiting, right? So I'm going to assume, um, unless, like I said earlier, there's something we don't know about the situation, which we very well might not know the full story. Then, you know, yeah, it's looking rough. I don't know what to say. Yeah, there's no way for me to sugarcoat things and all that because it's a really dark situation. Big Red Rant, thank you for the $10. I didn't come here to make any money. I didn't come here for tips, just so you guys are all aware. I didn't come here for views or anything like that. I just came here because I wanted to give you guys the information. This isn't like a happy stream where I'm all pumped up and, you know, my normal excited self. It's really sad. Just thinking about it, man. And you really think about all these players because there's a lot of guys at Nebraska who've invested so much into Mickey, right? There's guys like Trey Palmer and like DeColdis Crawford who came all the way from Louisiana. Ooh. Kyler, thanks for the 5. Trev said he is gone and that he has no further comments on it. Well, that is our answer. Judy says, in his wife's interview, she seemed very type A personality. We have no clue what the real story is, and prayers to their family. And yeah, I think that's a good point. And Travis, I didn't notify that I was going live. I just came on here live because I saw it pop up. People had reached out to me telling me about it, and I haven't been able to say anything until it was true. And now that it's obviously true, I wanted to come and talk to you guys because it's a tough situation. Like I said a minute ago, we're a community. There's a Nebraska football community. It hurts us a lot as fans because we looked up to this guy. We love this guy. We want to see him win. We want to see his family win, all these players win. And although it doesn't affect us as much as it impacts his wife and his kids and his family directly and his players, it still affects us. So that's why I'm here with you guys because it's something I think we need to talk about. That's why we're here. Trev said he's on administrative leave, which would make sense. Yeah. Big Ten Ted says, what an unfortunate turn of events. So much positive after the Iowa win and the Matt Rule hire. Can imagine this is a gut punch for Husker Nation. You never know what happens behind the scenes. I can tell you right now, Big Ten Ted, it is a gut punch for Husker Nation. It sucks the most because I think so if you recap the last 2 days, it really felt like there was a good chance Nebraska could keep Mickey, not only because Nebraska wanted Mickey, Matt Rule wanted him on the staff, but because you didn't know what options were out there for him. Mickey's ultimate goal was to be a head coach, and he did reach out to get that Tulsa job. I think it was unlikely he was going to get it. He was probably reaching out to some other schools to see if they'd be interested. Not sure how likely it was that he would have landed one of those schools. The most likely scenario in my head was it was either going to be Mickey as the wide receivers coach at Nebraska, or he'd decline that to try and get a head coaching job somewhere else. If it didn't work out, he probably would have had to bounce down to FCS to be a head coach, or he would have been able to be hired somewhere else as a wide receivers coach in college. Not sure if they pay as much money as Nebraska would have, but I think he was willing to take that risk. He wanted to be a head coach. So yeah, it felt like a 50-50 chance in my head that he was going to be here either way. Matt Rule has already been making other plans in case. So I'm sure he'll know his wide receivers coach soon, which is good because we'd like to know that answer, obviously, now that we've probably separated here. Kyler, thanks for the 10. Just wanted to try and put you in a better mood, Connor. Take the money, GBR. Better days ahead. Prayers up to his family. Thanks, Kyler. I'm in a fine mood, guys. It's really sad, but I'm okay. It's not like I didn't know him personally. I don't know his family personally. So as much as it is sad for me, like I said, it's nothing. It's just sad for me as a spectator. It's not sad for me as someone who knows him personally. If I knew these people personally, it'd be really tough for me. And that's why I feel so bad for the players, man. Shit, they all know him. They all hang out with him all the time. This is someone they look up to. I hope if you're friends with a player, you know a player, you text them and tell them your thoughts are with them because this is going to be a really hard situation for them. You got to realize your relationship with your coach. This guy's more than a coach to a lot of these guys. This is their family. A lot of these players came to Nebraska because of Mickey Joseph. This was their direct connection. This was like a father figure to them. And his family is like a family to them. So you're a young guy and you're watching all this unfold over Twitter. You're like, holy shit. And it's going to definitely be something that that hurts them. So like I said, that's the number one group I'm looking towards right now and sending out my well wishes to. Obviously, number one is his family, but my number one group outside of his direct family. Casey says, heartbreaking. Hope he gets the help he needs. That's absolutely true. Thank you for the $2, by the way. Like I said, I'm not here for your tips, not here for your super chats. So you guys sending them, I appreciate, but that's not what this is about. This isn't about me making money off the Mickey Joseph story. Not at all. I'm not going to make a video about this. Although I can guarantee you if I made a whole breakdown video of Mickey Joseph and everything that happened, it would make plenty of money because it would get plenty of views, but I don't feel right doing that. That just doesn't feel right. He's a member of the Nebraska family. Just sucks. Joel says before this happened, the ideal situation for Nebraska would have been retaining Mickey. With all this happening, there's going to be a lot of uncertainty moving forward. Yeah, like I said a minute ago, and thank you for the 10. Like I said a minute ago, I think it's really important that we understand Nebraska had a plan before. Like Mickey Joseph was going to be a guy who they wanted to get, but Matt Rule wasn't 100% in the know. So he's like, Mickey might say yes, Mickey might say no, so I'm going to have a backup option. I look forward to Matt and the rest of these hires because I think he's only got 4 or 5 left. So I look forward to Matt and his decisions and what he has to say about all of these hires because we're coming up on that December 5th. It's 6 days away. We're coming up on that December 5th start date for recruiting. The portal will be wide open. There have been a ton of names who've entered. We've got to get a few. Regardless of Matt's ideology and thinking we need to build from the ground up, right now, at least go and get a couple linemen, get a couple guys on defense. Let's start to bolster the depth. I'm sure we're going to see some guys leave in the portal. I don't know what this situation, specifically this situation, is going to do to the current roster and how guys are going to react, and I have absolutely no idea. It kind of feels like if you're a player, a lot's happened in these last year and a half. You had Scott Frost, and you were so damn close this entire time, right? After Scott Frost fails in 2021, he cleans out half of his staff. And then there are some basically restrictions placed on Scott Frost financially, and he's told he basically has to follow this new Trev Albert's idea, which is get new guys in here, get to 6 wins, don't do your flashy shit, figure out how to get wins now, or you're going to be cut, right? So you as a player see that. You've seen all the speculation all offseason. You've seen all my videos. You've seen everything on Twitter. I mean, it was a heavy offseason. It felt like a brand new program. Then you get all these new coaches in. You go through this season. Things don't work out halfway through. Frost is done. Now you're like, whoa. So you're already emotionally rattled, and now it just takes it to a whole nother level. Then you get Mickey Joseph to come in, and he's got to keep it together. You've got another 2 months of that. And then Mickey Joseph is told he's not getting the head coaching job. And a lot of players believe there was a good chance he would. And now you've got Matt Rule who comes in. And Matt Rule, none of these freaking guys know because Matt Rule hasn't coached in college since most of these guys were seniors in high school or whatever. A lot of these guys were relatively young when Matt Rule last coached and was last a big name because that's been 3 years, right? Anyway, now you got Matt Rule who comes in. And I'm sure the players have met Matt Rule. Maybe, I don't know. I don't want to confirm that. All I know is Matt Rule has met with the coaches individually. So he's probably seen some of the players and talked to a few. I know he's talked to a few, but I'm not sure that he's talked to the entire roster, right? He's talked to guaranteed 10 of them, but I don't know about the whole roster. And then you have this come out, and it's like, whew, it's been a rocky journey. So now you've got the players who are like, okay, I've been on this up and down, and now the portal's sitting right in front of you. And you're like, okay, I've gone through this rocky roller coaster. Jumping ship is pretty damn easy. In 6 days, I can get the hell out of here and hit system reset. I'm not knocking a single player who decides to do that. I understand it. Selfishly, I hate it. I'd love to keep as much talent here as possible. But who am I to sit here and look at what I just explained over the last whatever it's been, 17 months, and say, no, you're not loyal, and you got all these other issues and your own problems if you're going to enter the transfer portal. What? This has been a freaking shit show, man. Any player who committed in 2020 or 2021 and has ridden this wave, I commend you. Wow, you have been through a lot more than the normal college kid goes through who commits to a school that's a little bit more consistent, right? Wow. That's a lot. Deputy Goose, as a law enforcement officer, these are one of the worst calls to go to. My heart is with the family. Yeah, thanks for the 10. And yeah, I would assume it's really hard. And imagine being a police officer. Most police officers, I have to assume, in Lincoln are Nebraska fans. And you get a call about this with Mickey. Just imagine being a police officer. That's tough. DJ says this just sucks. He was like a hero. Very true. Very true. Thank you for the $2. I hope everybody feels okay, because this is somebody we all looked up to. Now there's a lot of people who've been victims of domestic violence and know people who've been victims of domestic violence. So this can be triggering, right, for a lot of people. And if you're a Mickey Joseph fan, that'll hurt you and dig in even deeper. I don't have any of those connections. I don't know anyone who's a victim of that abuse, so it's not the same for me. But I know for a lot of people it would be pretty horrible. So for all of you, I'm really sorry. And yeah. Anyway, those are my thoughts. It's this that's just crazy to me. This is the crazy thing to me. How did we go from in 5 days or 6 days winning against Iowa, feeling like Mickey was on top of the world, feeling like he had some superb options. He could potentially come in and be one of the highest paid assistants, non-coordinator assistants in the entire country at Nebraska, or potentially go and be a head coach somewhere at a smaller school. Those are two fantastic options. And now just whatever it is, 5 days later, arrested for strangulation and fleeing the scene. And I think someone said he was under the influence. I'm just surprised and shocked. And how do things change so quickly? How do you go from so much positivity? Yeah, it's just, yeah. And Jack says, you as in the chat, claim the wife's the victim. No one knows exactly what happened other than everyone making guesses. For all we know, it could have been against someone else. Yeah, no one knows what the hell happened. So, yeah, no one knows anything. We don't know. That's why I don't want to speculate anything or talk about anything, because we know absolutely nothing. We just know that he's arrested. We know that there was a domestic violence call to the police. And once that call was made, they obviously reported. My understanding is the text I got a couple hours ago, Mickey fled the scene. He was under the influence. And now he's arrested and in jail. That was the latest and the last I saw. And yeah, it's still just hard for me to wrap my head around. It's like, what the hell? How did we get here? Anyway, anyone saying fake news, I mean, there's no fake news. Just look at it right here. Here you go. Here it is. The only reason I came on here, like I told you guys earlier, and for anyone who's just joining now, I just came on here because this is a hard thing for Nebraska fans. It's a hard thing for his family. It's a hard thing for these players. And yeah, I want to make sure that you guys know my thoughts on it, and that's why I gave this to you before. After I end this live, I'll leave this video up for a minute so you guys can watch it. But yeah, there's no excuse for it, right? There's no excuse for any of the accusations. So if they did happen, like I said, I'm not going to say anything bad because it is what it is. You guys know my thoughts on that. I don't need to fuel the fire and be a negative person, as you would know my thoughts on that. And I like I said, I wish his wife well. So anyway, that's all I've got for you. I just wanted to come on here and give you my initial reaction and thoughts and make sure you guys knew the full story of what was going on, because all of these tweets were coming out. I think people are saying now it's on ESPN and shit. So if you want to see it, it's everywhere. Yeah, crazy. I guess that's the way to say it. Like I said, if you know any Husker football players, reach out to them and let them know they're loved, because they're feeling this a lot more than you would think they are. They looked up to this guy a lot, like a father figure. This is a major figurehead and a pillar of Nebraska football right now. So they're feeling it the most. Anyway, that's all I've got for you guys. Thanks for being here, and I'm glad you guys came to check in. I will talk to you soon.